What is up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima's performance on the Steam Deck OLED. The game was released on PlayStation as an exclusive on July 17, 2020, and was finally released on the PC on May 16, 2025. The game is sold for $60 and has a standing of 92% very positive reviews on Steam. The game is currently unsupported on the Steam Deck. For my settings, we would have to go to the display settings. Set your window mode to full screen, your resolution to default, which is 1280 by 800, aspect ratio set to auto, turn your VSync on, turn on your HDR, upscale method to DLSS with its upscale quality set to quality, dynamic resolution scaling turned off, NVIDIA reflex low latency set to on plus boost, and lastly, frame generation to be turned on. Now under graphics settings, motion blur should be 0, max out field of view, texture quality to medium, max anti-soft-rec, shadow quality to low, level of detail set to very high, terrain detail set to medium, volumetric fog set to low, depth of field set to low, screen space reflection should be off, screen space shadow set to low, ambient occlusion set to SSAO performance, bloom is turned off, vignette is turned on, and water caustic is also turned on. A few things to point out though. I've observed that when toggling the HDR and the frame generation, it crashes the game. I haven't figured out yet on how to revert it without resetting to default, so just bear with that in mind. Also, about the NVIDIA reflex low latency. This should have no effect, and as far as I can tell, this seems to be the case. I just left it on since it doesn't really affect the game in any negative sense also. With these settings, your FPS ranges from low 40s and as high as 70 FPS. To be honest, the frames are all over the place, but never really to the point that it becomes unplayable. The way to do it is set the screen refresh rate to either 30 or 45 frames per second. If you want a smoother gameplay with occasional dips, set it to 45 frames per second. If you want the PS4 experience but in handheld, set your refresh rate to 30 frames. This will give you a much more stable experience, a bump to battery performance, and a little wiggle room to adjust to the graphic settings. This is captured using OBS to see the actual graphical quality of the game. With OBS running in the background, the performance hit is noticeable but still very much playable. Since you won't be playing Ghost of Tsushima with any background apps anyway, this will never be the case. This is just to show the actual graphical quality while you are in-game. Ghost of Tsushima, it really is a gorgeous game. While the graphical quality on the Steam Deck is nowhere near the quality of actually beefy PCs, the game on the deck is by no means ugly. The art design is still great, and the fidelity is still serviceable. The animations were not compromised, and to pair all of that with a stable 30 frames per second or a smoother 45 frames per second with the occasional dips, Ghost of Tsushima plays great on the deck. Want to see more Steam Deck performance reviews? Please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Once again, I am Macer, and I will see you again on my next video. Turken!